This is On the Money with your financial advisor, Ryan Wheelis. You know, what's interesting to me, Ryan, about today's program is you talked about two stories. They happen to be women who had reached out to you. The transfer of wealth is kind of a buzz phrase that we've been hearing. And to me, it's incredibly exciting. And what we mean by transfer of wealth is they're talking about the baby boomer generation and how much they're going to transfer over in trillions to the Gen Xers, to their kids' generation. But I say, hold on. Before that money goes to our kids or the community or to your church, it's probably going to go someplace else first, especially if you're married. It's going to go to the spouses, and I mean our female spouses who outlive us. They talk about over $90 trillion will transfer from baby boomers in the next 30 to 35 years. It's not going to the kids first. It's going to the women. And these two women who you were just talking about and tens of millions more are going to find out whether or not their husband's plan worked for them or not. I mean, shouldn't they be part of this plan right now as opposed to waiting another 10 or 15 years and crossing their fingers?
Spike, from time to time, we host women's only events, and we offer the second opinion service. Come in without your husband. Bring all the stuff in. Let's stress test your plan. And it's interesting. Sometimes we find some really good stuff, and sometimes we find some stuff where the amount of risk being taken does not match the income personality of the wife. So we have to call the husband in and go to work on this stuff, right? And it's important because both parties should be involved, because one of them is not going to be there forever. And they should both understand how the plan works and understand the risk taken in the plan and have, just some knowledge on it and stress test it, guys, because new things come out. Great example is private credit funds. Mainstream these days. People are getting 10% yields in private credit funds right now, Spike. Pretty stable valuation, by the way, okay? It's currently. That could change in the future. Private equity's opened up to mainstream investors too. That's changed. Is your plan up with the times? Because things change over time. Tax rates change. Social Security rules change. Medicare cost changes, right? All these changes are occurring. And so the plan is a living, breathing thing that should be updated with the most advanced products and programs out there, so that you can get the most out of your dollars for retirement.
You can give us a call. The wealth transfer. Are you a woman who is concerned about retirement planning? There's so many different factors. We've talked about it several times over the last few years, but tend to live longer. Generally speaking, have a little bit less in your own Social Security. Generally speaking, have a little bit less in your own savings for retirement. So now we've got to make sure that the plan that possibly you and your spouse, or are you soloing into retirement, then you definitely have to have a plan. Women in retirement, please feel free to reach out to us. I'm going to give you some Texas numbers here in a moment. 844-944-7555 is the phone number. Look, when you call that, there are folks standing by literally right now. If you're listening to our program on the weekend, there are people there. They will schedule an appointment for you. You can come and sit down. Ryan's got offices all around the state. Or you can text us. We can set up a Zoom if you feel like it. Or you can come into one of the offices and sit down with us. 21000, type in the word plan, hit send on it. It is really that simple. I open the program with more people turning 65 by 2040. It means we've got 15 years. That means even Gen X is getting close to it. Our late
easy, Spike. I think I'm Gen X. I'm 48.
I know. But here's the thing. This is for Texas. Texas is the number 2 state in the nation for the amount of people who will turn 65. Number 1, I believe, was somewhere up in the northeast coast. It was either like Maine or Delaware or something. Number 2, though, by far and away, Texas. So we've got about 3.9 million people age 65 right now. Within the next 15 years, by 2040, it's going to be over 6.3 million. They are saying this is 58% growth rate. What is this going to do to looking for downsized homes? What is this going to, the flat ranch with no stairs? What is this going to do to being able to keep your doctor? What is this going to do to long-term care facilities? What is this going to do for going to movies at 3:00 in the afternoon? They're going to be packed. How do we prepare not only as a state, but as an individual for this many people?
Yeah, Spike. I mean, you got to go through the checklist. Am I saving enough for retirement? That's important, right? How can I protect my money from inflation? Super important, right? It's also important that you understand the actual spending habits of 280,000 households done by Chase Bank, by the way, versus what the traditional conventional financial wisdom says you should grow inflation at for a retirement plan, because they're uniquely different. Conventional financial wisdom says 3%. What people actually spend in the first phase of retirement is 1.9% inflated for inflation, okay? Then you look at what's your plan for healthcare, long-term care. What are you going to do about that, right? And the time to plan that stuff is before you retire, not after, all right? How do you make sure you don't outlive your money? That's the biggest threat we all face, by the way, is living too long, okay? And there's plenty of strategies out there that can actually contractually guarantee that you don't outlive your money. What's really interesting, by the way, is on my podcast, Redefining Retirement with Ryan Wheelis, we have some of the brightest minds in the retirement industry. Some of the smartest people you could ever talk to. Wade Fowle, one. Mary Beth Franklin, another. Just lots of folks like that, okay? Dr. Larry Katlikoff, all right? And every one of them say that every person out there should have a pension. If they don't have a pension, they should create their own personal pension plan because that will guarantee a paycheck until they die. They're saying not some people should have it. Every person should have this, okay? And these are the foremost experts, thought leadership in the industry.
Now, I'm going to say this for me, for my compliance, because they say that I am allowed to say pension-like plan because pensions have certain protections, right? But using the pension-like tool, we're talking about an annuity tool, which as a financial advisor and all the investment management that you talk about, it's not bad to talk. There's just usually such a separation in our industry. You're either an asset under management person or you're in the insurance industry over here. And again, going back to what you were saying about half an hour ago, the independence allows you to look at all of the tools. And none of them are necessarily good or bad. It's just, what are we trying to do? If we want to try to create a pension-like plan, what kind of tools do you like to use?
I've got a client, and his name is not Homer, but I'm going to call him Homer.
Okay.
And if he hears me, he'll know I'm talking about him. He's got $12 million. He's like, Ryan, I can put my money in the money market alone and earn all the money I need to retire on. I don't need a pension. And he's right. He doesn't. Okay. And so then I've got other clients that one guy retired from Shell. His pension is $10,000 a month. He's like, Ryan, I can never spend my pension. I don't spend that a month. All right. So he's a guy who doesn't need an income annuity, but also have plenty of people out there who retire who have no pension, who don't have $12 million, who are actually a little bit constrained, if you think about it, to where the income level that their portfolio is required to produce can get kind of strenuous, right? Create a lot of pressure on the portfolio. But if the market falls and they have a period of 2 or 3 years of no return to the markets and they're taking the money out of the portfolio, they may not recover.
Yeah.
That's a big deal, right? So people like that do need to understand that, hey, not Ryan Wheelis, some of the greatest thought leaders, PhDs, smart people who figure this stuff out, economists, okay, are saying that you need to have a portion of the income you need to finance the lifestyle you want to live in your golden years come from some type of contractual guarantee of income. And if you don't have a pension and you don't have enough money to just throw your money in a money market account and it produce enough interest to live on, you're probably somebody who needs to look at this.
We have gone through a 45-year experiment of going mostly from pension plans to not having pension plans and saving on our own in tax-deferred accounts. We'll throw the tax monkey back on there as well. But then it isn't just about the investments. How many people walk into your office when you say, I don't mind, let me review your plan, and they hand you statements, the 401k, the Schwabi, the Eddy, the whatever the accounts are. That's not a plan. That isn't the income plan. And there's been actually legislation that was introduced a couple of years ago about the possibility of putting annuities into retirement accounts. I don't know how you all feel about that. QLAC, okay.
Qualified long-term annuity contract.
And now I wonder about portability and moving jobs and all that stuff. Well, let's just stick on the concept. Could you be a fanboy of that?
For sure. For sure. Because here's what happened. It used to be done for you. Okay. Your company set aside money in your pension plan. The pension plan company managed that money. They did well. They had insight to the markets. There wasn't a lot of retail money in the markets. They had more control, if you will, of the markets, by the way. And then all that changed when the 401k plan was introduced. And slowly but surely, pensions were phased out. So now the onus of saving enough money for retirement is on your shoulders, not your company's, okay? But to make matters even worse, Spike, the onus of investing the money properly in a way that allows you to finance the lifestyle you want to live in your golden years without dying before your money goes, without outliving your money, okay, is on you as well. right? So it's a double whammy, which makes the need for connecting with somebody who is independent with a fiduciary duty, who is a holistic planner, who does everything under the sun, from tax planning to healthcare planning to investment planning to income planning to legacy planning, all those things. It's super important to engage someone. I mean, there was a Vanguard study out that showed that people who engage financial advisors actually accumulate twice the money of people who don't, right? And the barriers to entry are oftentimes not what people think they are.
Ryan, that's going to be all the time that we have for the radio programs this week. For the YouTube videos, you're going to continue to put out content. You've got your brand new podcast out there, The Redefining Retirement. We're going to talk more about that in coming weeks. But folks, you can call right now and not only get your portfolio x-ray, your complete income review, but we can also make sure that you get a second opinion. Are you your own financial advisor? Have you been trying to figure this out on your own in your own 401ks? Or do you have a big box firm and you would just like to get a review? All of that starts right here, right now. Call 844-944-7555, 844-944-7555, or even easier, just text us. Type in the word plan, hit 21000, hit send on that. We'll set up an appointment for you. For Ryan Wheelis, I'm Spike Spangle. This is On the Money. We'll be back again next week.